Hello, everyone. Welcome to Therapeutic Yoga today. So we are going to do an entire class on the hip joints. Now, when I say hip joints, what I'm talking about is the actual joint. So we're going to do a lot more today regarding flexibility than we really are going to be spending doing any sort of strengthening. So what you're going to need for today's class are three things: your yoga mat, a yoga bolster, and a yoga block. But I want to take a quick second to talk about yoga blocks because for some of us that have really tight hips and not so healthy hip joints, meaning the hip joints might have some osteoarthritis or degenerative changes. It might be that you've had a past hip fracture, a hip replacement. It might be that you're dealing with something with the labrum, which is part of the cartilage on the inside of the socket of the hip. Any of those issues, sitting on a bolster to attend a yoga class just doesn't sound like a very good idea. So I did want to show everybody, if you are that person that has really tight hip joints and you want an option to be able to sit on the floor and do what us yogis are doing, two yoga blocks work really, really well, because what you're going to do is you're going to place the yoga blocks on top of your bolster. And all of a sudden now you're sitting on a much higher elevated surface so that you have more access to open up your hip angle. One yoga block for most of us, our body weights and our pelvis size is likely a little too much, but two yoga blocks works really well for most individuals' body weights and body sizes. So if you're that person that's at home that has really, really tight hips, maybe even give that a try today. For the rest of us, you just need a single yoga block for later on in class when we're getting down to the mat. So go ahead and find yourself in a seated position, either on your bolster, or you can put something underneath your bolster to elevate it if you want. And let's kind of get started with one key thing about hips. Now, as you're sitting in bolster easy pose, which is the position that I'm sitting in, also known as Taylor sitting, if you go more into the medical side of things. If we went into the education school side of things, this is called crisscross applesauce in kindergarten. So one thing about hips is the power of habits of our rotation of our hip joints. So what I want you to do right now is just take a quick second to look down at the habit pattern that you've chosen for crossing your legs. Because chances are the leg that you put on the inside and the leg that you put on the outside is habitually the same leg you put on the inside and the same leg you put on the outside. So since we're doing a class specifically on these hip joints today, I want you to challenge this little motor homunculus and your brain patterns of habit today and change it around when we sit. So as you change it around as we sit, it just feels weird, but it allows you to open up that possibility of that new habit for those hips. It changes how you weight bear on your pelvis, and it also allows you to change which hip rotator you're putting a little bit more tension in and which one you're putting a little bit less tension in. Okay, enough to say about that. Let's get moving. So here's what I want you to do. Allow yourself to take your pelvis and rock your pelvis forward and backward a few times. As you're rolling it forward and backward, flashing news, your bum is round. So as you roll backward and forward, you have more of a tendency to roll backwards. So get yourself to really use your back muscles and your hip flexors and roll your pelvis forward for a moment, as far as you feel like you can. And do you feel any sort of pinching or impingement in your hip? If you do, boy, this is the right class for you today. But when you're there, allow yourself to roll back and see if you can find that middle of that forward and backward position, kind of like you're sitting on your sit bones if you wanted to think about your sit bones on your bolster. Get your spine nice and tall. Let's shrug our shoulders for a second. Rotate our arms outward. Shoulder blades go with. Squeeze those shoulder blades back and down. Keep them squeezed back and down, and just place the hands on the thighs. Now, allow yourself with that nice long spine just to hinge enough forward that you feel a little bit of extra weight going into your legs. All right, now that you're there, All that we're going to do here is a few nice, gentle openings of arms with breath before we get into tackling the hips for the rest of class. So take your hands and place them at the center of your heart. Take a nice deep inhale. Lift your hands nice and high. Reach so high that it feels like your hands are touching the ceiling. And then as you exhale, bring your hands down and out. Kind of find that goalpost position or pivot prone if we want to live in the physical therapy world, and kind of hold it there for a second. Now pull the pinkies back a little bit more. Make sure as you did that, you didn't change your rib cage position. So is there still some weight into your legs? Very nice. Bring your hands back to the center of your heart. Let's do that 2 more times. Full movement, full breath this time. Nice deep inhale, lifting high, 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 high. Hold your breath, reach up as high as you can. Lift that rib cage up, but keep the weight on your legs. Now, as you exhale, bring those elbows back and down. Feel all those beautiful shoulder blade muscles engaging. And then hold your breath, bring your hands back to the center of your heart. One last time, inhale, lifting all the way up, up, up. Palms to the ceiling, reaching up there, holding your breath. And then as you exhale, bringing those hands down, pulling those elbows back and down, pulling those pinkies back, keeping the weight onto your legs. You've got it. Hold the breath and then bring the hands back to the center. Very nice. Relaxing your hands down. Now we're going to start with a little bit of opening through our side body, just so that as we tackle our hip joints today, we don't have too much tension in our back and our rib cage. So start with placing your left hand onto your bolster. Legs are going to stay in that opposite crisscross position. So you may be feeling like one hip is a little tighter than the other, just merely because you're out of your normal habit right now. Right hand, bring it up and out to the side. Take a nice deep inhale. As you inhale, lift that hand up. And as you exhale, side bend over. Now, don't feel like you have to go to end range side bending today, but I want you to now pay attention to your pelvis. So in this position, on that right sit bone, can you just shear your pelvis and sit into that a little bit more? Feel how you immediately feel that muscle in the side and back of your low back. Hold yourself in this position. If your shoulder and your elbow on your left side don't like this so much, just drop your hand down onto the floor, whatever works for you. Now, really focus on that area of the low back. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. Sit into that right sit bone and then exhale out. You've got it. Inhale, lifting the right arm back up, and then as you exhale, dropping it down. Let's do that all on the opposite side. So right hand on the bolster, left hand out to the side of the body. Take that nice deep inhale, lift that arm up on the left side, and then as you exhale, side bend over. Again, keep in the right hand on the bolster if you're comfortable with that. If you want to drop it down, feel free. But today I want you to focus on that left sit bone. Now in this position, push that left sit bone, feel your pelvis almost shear to the left as you side bend to the right. Can you find that spot in that low back that I'm talking about? All right, now that you've got it, hopefully, take a nice deep inhale into your belly, all the way to that low back, exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhaling in. And exhaling out. Excellent. Left hand, inhale it up. And then as you exhale, drop it on down. All right. Spin your legs to your right side or left side, whichever suits your fancy. And then get yourself in hands and knees. Now, keep your bolster very near. We're going to be using it multiple times today. So kind of keep it somewhere near your mat. And bring yourself into hands and knees for me. So as you go into hands and knees are hip distance apart. That's 2 fists between those knees, give or take for each person. But look straight back and make sure that you see that your ankles and feet line up with your knees. And then stack those knees up on top of those hips. All right, now in this position, have those wrists directly underneath the shoulders. Elbows are there too. Index fingers point them forward. Thumbs spread them on in. Now, allow yourself to find the balance between weight onto the wrists and weight onto the knees. Make sure the weight bearing on your hands is the index finger, the index knuckle, and the thumb and the inner part of your wrist. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Let's go through 3 cat-cows here. So as you inhale, sink your belly, sink your spine, lift that tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lengthen through that neck and look up. And then as you exhale, pull that belly up and in, tuck that tailbone, spread the shoulder blades, chin to chest, look into the belly button. Two more times here. Inhale, sink that belly, sink that spine, let that tailbone squeeze those shoulder blades, lengthen up as you look up. And then as you exhale, pull that spine up and in, tuck that tailbone, spread those shoulder blades, chin to chest. One more time here. Inhale, sinking, 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 lifting that tailbone, shoulder blades back and down, lengthening up. And then as you exhale, curling, curling everything under, really engage abdominals, tuck the tailbone, spread those shoulder blades, chin to chest. Slowly walk your hands back. Keep your tailbone tucked under, settle your sit bones to your heels, and then gently walk your hands forward. Belly comes down onto the thigh. Get the chest downward onto the knees. You slowly walk the hands forward. And gently rest the crown of their head down onto the floor. Okay, let's do a nice deep inhale here. Deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Slowly walking your hands back towards your knees, bringing yourself up into kneeling. Now, as you bring yourself up into kneeling, grab your bolster so that you've got it for support. We're going to take our left foot forward and we're going to be kneeling on our right knee. Now, those of you that might have really sensitive knees at home, either knee replacements, knee arthroscopies, just scars in general on your knees, double, triple that yoga mat. Give yourself some extra protection so those knees aren't what you're thinking about. You're going to be thinking about this hip joint. All right, so now in this position, gaze back that you haven't lost that alignment of the knee. So as you look straight back, you can see that your ankle and your foot still line up with your knee, and then line that hip perfectly up on top of that knee. Once you've done that, allow yourself to see that your left knee is somewhere around the middle of your ankle on this left side, or your foot somewhere around there. Now it's all about the movement of our pelvis here to open up through the front of the hip joint. So those of you that cycle, those of you that are runners, those of you that do anything where you're doing a very hip flexor dominant activity, hikers, really need to get into these hip flexors and make sure that they have good elongation so that you don't have the problems with the front of these hip joints that a lot of us have. So hand onto the pelvis on the right side. Leg is straight behind you. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, really tuck your tailbone under. Now check in with yourself. As you tucked your tailbone under, did your rib cage move backwards? Because if it did, you lost a little bit of that flexibility through that psoas. So see if you can keep that rib cage straight in line with that leg bone as you tuck that tailbone under. Now in this position, nice tight tailbone under. It's just about the hip joint today. Take a nice deep inhale into your belly, so much so that you can maybe even feel the breath come down to here. And then exhaling out. Let's do that again. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Release your pelvic tilt. Now we're going to stay here. This is why I told you guys to put something underneath that knee if it was talking to you. We're going to add some rotation to our hip joint. So first things first, do not move your knee, but take your ankle and swing your ankle out towards the right side of your mat. As you do that, make sure that your hip and knee alignment stays just as it is. Take a nice deep inhale. On the exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Make sure the rib cage doesn't fall backwards. Do you feel that hip flexor stretch differently? Nice deep inhale here. And exhale. Let's do it one more time. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Release the tension. Then take the foot. Sweep the foot to the opposite side of the mat. Knee is still right where it is. Check in that hip is still stacked on top of the knee and the pelvis is pointed forward. One last time here. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Hold that position. Do you feel this stretch of the hip flexors differently? Deep inhale in. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. Exhaling out. Beautiful. Release the tuck, line the knee back up, bring the left leg down. Hands, let's go through 3 cat-cows, and then we'll take a rest on those knees. So in this position, check in that your index fingers are forward, gaze back at those feet. Let's go forward. Inhale, sink the belly. Allow the tailbone to lift, shoulder blades, lengthen through the neck. Now exhale, curl everything under, push through those hands, chin to chest. Inhaling, sinking everything, imagining the front of your body getting as long as it can. And then as you exhale, curling everything under. One more time. Inhaling and exhaling. Excellent. Slowly sit back onto your heels, belly to thighs, chest to knees, walking the hands forward if you like today, crown of the head to the floor. Nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Deep inhale in. And exhaling out. And slowly walking your hands back towards your knees, bringing yourself back up onto hands and knees. Let's do it all over again on this left knee now. So you're bringing the right leg forward. You're on your left knee. In this position, take your bolster for balance and bring it over on the opposite side. I am going to do a quick flippy-roo so that I'm still facing you as we do this. So make sure that you can look straight back and see that your leg lines up with your knee behind you. Hip is directly on top of the knee. And then look at your right knee for a second and make sure it's somewhere directly underneath that ankle or foot. Okay, we're ready to go for this. So in this position, take that nice deep inhale. On the exhale, tuck that tailbone under, feel the opening through the front of the left hip. Hold it there. Can you deeply inhale even into that area? So nice deep inhale in. Exhaling out. One more time, deep inhale in. Exhaling out, and then release the tension of the pelvis. Keep the knee and the hip and the pelvis where it is, but that foot, swing the foot outwards to the side of your mat. Then bring yourself back up. I am so tight on this leg, bringing myself back up is almost difficult. All right, here we go. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, tuck the tailbone under. Do you feel this more? Or do you feel it differently? Deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Deep inhale in. Exhaling out. Release the tension on the pelvis. Take that foot and bring that foot now all the way towards the opposite side. Check in that your pelvis is still pointed forward, hip is still directly on top of the knee, hand on that pelvis. Last time here, guys. Deep inhale. As you exhale, tuck that tailbone under. Rib cage is still stacked. Hold yourself right there. 2 deep inhales into that hip. Deep inhale in. Exhaling out. One more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out, release the tension, unrotate the hip down onto those knees. As you make yourself down onto those knees, give yourself a second to settle your hips onto your heels, or your sit bones onto your heels is a better option here. And let's go into those 2 breaths into child's pose again. So as you settle yourself down, belly onto the thighs, chest onto the knees, slowly lower yourself all the way down, crown of the head to the floor, hands up if you like. Just let yourself relax here. Nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Slowly walking yourself up. Now grab that bolster. And as you grab that bolster, place the bolster in the center of your yoga mat. Once you have that bolster in the center of the yoga mat, Think of it as a horse saddle and bring your hips up and over it so that your right leg is in front of the bolster, the left leg is behind the bolster. Now, we could simply do Z pose here, which would mean that, let me show that for a second for those of you that don't have a real bolster at home. Z pose would be where one leg is in one direction and the other leg is in the other direction. So you can see I'm making kind of sort of a Z, but we're going to use the bolster today so we can get nice and deep into those hips. But if you don't have a real bolster at home, you could simply do Z pose on the floor. So once you're here, check in that the left leg lines up with the outside of the mat. The right shin bone lines up with the top or the bottom of the mat, depending on how you're on your mat. Then here's the thing I really want you to challenge. See that your right sit bone is in the center of your bolster. So feel on yourself. Does the right sit bone fit to the center of the bolster? Okay, you're good. Then take your arms, inhale them up, and then as you exhale, drop them forward in front of that shin bone. Now, as you drop your arms in front of this shin bone, you're kind of doing a modification of pigeon pose. But we're going to stay with the modification today because it's strictly about that hip joint. So in this position, if you're the person that's joining me and you're already feeling the pinching in your groin on this right side, just allow yourself to stay right here. Please do not go any further. But if you don't feel anything in your buttock yet, you don't feel any pinching in the front of that hip, take a nice deep inhale and reach yourself forward by pushing your arms down and pulling your rib cage forward. And then as you exhale, bring yourself down onto your elbows. Do you feel anything in your buttock yet? All right, you got more? Then do more. So slowly allow yourself to now drop down so that the crown of your head is coming down towards the floor. So you pick your poison. I'm going to stay on my elbows. Feel that beautiful opening through that whole buttock area, tackling those hip rotators. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Let's do one more here. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Very nice. Coming up onto your hands if you're not there. And then coming all the way back up into your sitting position on that bolster. Now, do not move anything of your body, okay? But take your hands, lift them up. Turn your rib cage and your pelvis slightly over the right. Kind of look like a zombie right now, guys. Turn it right over the right knee. And then drop your hands over the right knee. So this is very specific for the piriformis muscle on this right side. So your pelvis, your rib cage, your hands, it's kind of like they're straddling this right knee over this bolster. For me, one hand is off my yoga mat, the other mat is on. It might be that you're in the same boat at home or both hands are off of your yoga mat. I think I might have said bolster. Anyways, all right, so in this position, stay here if you're already feeling significant tension in your buttock. You want to go further, take a deep inhale, reach yourself forward, and then as you exhale, drop yourself down on those elbows. Now check as you drop yourself down on those elbows. Does it look like your knee is centered in your chest? If so, you did good. Hold yourself right here, lengthen your neck, settle your chin, take the deepest breath you can into your belly. And exhale out. See how that stretches so much more different than you just did? Yeah, one more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. And then walking yourself back up. Bringing the hands back up onto the bolster. And simply take the left leg, swing it forward. Right leg, swing it back. And we are ready to do Z pose on the opposite side. So check in that the left shin bone lines up with the front of the mat, right leg shin bone lines up with the side of the mat. So we're not going into full pigeon or modification here. You certainly could if you wanted to at home, but I really want you to focus on a single hip here. So that's the benefit of doing Z pose. All right. Is your left sit bone in the midpoint of your bolster? Feel that for me. Because if it's not in the midpoint and it's too far back, when you forward bend, you're going to fall off the back of that bolster. All right, you ready, guys? Inhale, lift those arms up like a zombie. Exhale, forward bend over that leg. Make sure you feel that your chest and your shin bone are all going in the same direction. This may be as far as you go, but if you got more in you, take a nice deep inhale, lengthen, lift yourself up. And then as you exhale, drop yourself down onto your elbows. Keep your neck long, your chin tucked in. If you have more, inhale, lengthen, and then as you exhale, drop your head down. You pick where you want to be. I'm going to stay right here. Now let's do those 2 deep inhales and exhales. So nice deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. One more time. Deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Beautiful. Walking those hands back up, bringing them back up onto the bolster. And this is where we do the twist of our pelvis. So pelvis, rib cage, arms, everything, you want to turn them towards the left knee. So lift your arms up, rotate yourself. So feel that pelvis rotate up and over that left knee. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, drop those hands. Are you straddling your left knee right now? Is your rib cage and your chest midline with that knee? If so, you're in a good place. Sorry, my back is a little bit to you, but take a deep inhale here, lengthen through your spine. And as you exhale, if you've got it in you, forward bend down onto those elbows. If you want to go for further, another deep inhale as you lengthen your spine, exhaling, dropping the head down towards the floor. All right, feel that left piriformis here. Take a deep inhale in, exhaling out. And let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhaling in here and exhaling out. Most excellent. To walk in the hands back up, finding the hands back on the bolster, and then just simply allow yourself to roll off the side of the bolster. We're not done with the bolster yet, guys, but move it to the side and find yourself in a seated position. And now that you're in a seated position on the floor, allow yourself to scoot so that you're somewhere in the center of your yoga mat. Right leg, bring it so that it lines up with the corner of your mat. Left leg, bring it so that it's into the inner thigh of your right leg. Now, in this position, having that leg outward, can you check in that your pelvis is pointed forward? Because if you're already rotated towards that, you are not going to get the beautifulness of these inner thigh muscles that we want to tackle right now. So turn your pelvis so that you're pointed perfectly forward. Now, if you've got neural tension in your leg, I don't know why I had a hard time saying that, meaning you've had some history of sciatica or something like that, keep your toes pointed for today. Remember, it's about the hip joint. But if you don't have any sort of neural tension, feel free to point those toes up and get a little bit of nerve tension as you're focusing on that hip joint. You pick what's best for your body and system at home. Now, it's all about rolling the pelvis forward here. So take a nice deep inhale. And as you inhale, roll your pelvis, stick your belly out, holding that as you exhale. All right, right hand, come to the inside of the right thigh. Touch it somewhere near the knee if you can reach it. Left hand, turn it behind you. Now take a deep inhale, lift the left arm up. And as you exhale, gently side bend over towards the right foot. Now, I don't want you to fold to grab the foot. We're not doing a full bind today. I want you to literally just side bend through the trunk. So can you find that perfect stretch of your inner thigh on the right hip and a little bit of that left back? That's what I want you to find today. All right, now nice deep inhale. Make sure that you're still arching that low back. Find those inner thigh muscles, exhaling out. And let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Left arm, inhale it up. And then as you exhale, come on down. All right, let's do the same leg where it is, but take that leg and literally pull it back towards you. So now your pelvis is pointed towards that leg. Little bit of hamstring for us. Now, if you're someone that does have really, really tight hamstring and or that neural tension I mentioned before, grab your yoga block and place it underneath your shin bone, or your calf muscle or knee right now, so that you're keeping that knee bend. And it's all about the hip area of your hamstring. If you don't have too tight of a hamstring or neural tension, you can keep your leg straight, whatever works best for you. Left arm, take a nice deep inhale, lift it up. And as you exhale it, bring it to the outside of the right knee. Right arm, bring it behind you. So it's just kind of keeping your trunk nice and perpendicular to this right leg. Take a deep inhale here. Stick that belly out. As you exhale, gently slide that left hand down the outside of that right leg. See how straight you can keep your back. Hopefully you're feeling those hamstrings closer to the hip, not behind the knee. If you're feeling them behind your knee, please bend your knee a little bit. Keep your neck long, your chin tucked. Let's do a nice deep inhale here and exhaling out. One more breath, deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Left arm, inhale, bring it all the way up in the air and exhale as it comes down onto the mat. All right, so let's do it all over on the other side. So take the left leg now, line it up with that corner of your mat, and then the right foot comes into that left inner thigh. Once you have yourself in this position, check in that the pelvis is straight forward. All right, now we're really gonna do a roll of the pelvis, arching of the back here. So take that deep inhale, sit up nice and tall, roll that pelvis. Do you feel that inner thigh? I can pretty much guarantee that you do. If you don't have neural tension, you can point your toes up. If you do have any sort of neural tension, keep the toes pointed down so you can focus on this inner thigh. All right, keep yourself nice and tall there for a second, opening up through those inner thigh muscles. You've got it. Now take that left hand, bring it to the inside of the left leg. Right hand, bring it out and away from you. Nice deep inhale here. Keep that back arched. And then as you exhale, just a gentle side bend over as you slide your hand down towards the ankle. Again, don't let yourself forward fold, focusing on getting your head to your knee. That is a definite beautiful yoga pose, but you're not going to get that beautiful adductor muscle of that hip joint. So see if in this position you can keep that back arched, focus on those inner thigh muscles, feel a little bit of that right low back. Give me that nice deep inhale here and exhaling out. You got it. Let's do it one more time. Nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Wonderful. Right hand, inhale it up, exhale, dropping it down. Now stay where you are, but take the left leg and pull it back like you're shortening it. As you do that, the pelvis faces towards the left foot. So all we've done is made our body and our pelvis now perpendicular to that left leg. Right arm, inhale it up, and then as you exhale, bring it up into the outside of the left leg. Left hand, just gently bring it behind you so that you keep your shoulders perpendicular to this left leg. Keep the spine nice and tall today. Give me a nice deep inhale, and then as you exhale, keeping the spine as tall as you can, sliding the hand downward as close to that ankle as you could get it. Now, in this position, you want to feel the hamstring closer to the hip joint. So if you're feeling it only behind the knee, bend that knee, put the block there, do whatever you need. Let's go through the 2 breaths here. Nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. One more, nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Beautiful. Sliding yourself back up. Inhale that arm up, and then as you exhale, rotate it around. All right, we're going to try this once. We're going to do full separate leg stretch. So bring the pelvis back to the center. Everyone, do only where you can go. Left leg stays towards that corner of your mat. Right leg, bring it to the other corner of the mat. See where your separate leg stretch goes to. You may be much, much closer. Hey, you may be even further apart than me. It's not a challenge. Let your ego go. Just go to where you feel your inner thighs. Place your hands on your yoga mat in front of you. Now take that inhale, roll that pelvis forward. Oh my goodness. Smile. Feel those inner thigh muscles. Do not forward fold. Forward folding would be great right now if it was all about going into our pelvis and our low back. This is a hip joint class, so we need it to be all right there. Give me a nice deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. Let's do it one more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Beautiful. Unroll that pelvis, sit yourself so you're not in full extension. And can you pull your legs in? Bring your feet towards one another. This feels perfectly easy now, doesn't it? Bring your hands and interlace your hands and kind of hook them underneath those feet. And then in that position, just let your legs fall out to the side. Hamstrings are out of the equation, but you're still dealing with hip rotators and some adductors here. So here's what I want you to do. As you've got that bind underneath your feet, inhale and kind of pull your rib cage forward. Try not to push your knees too aggressively downward to the floor. And then as you exhale, can you use your biceps and bring yourself just a little bit more forward? I want you to feel this in the groin. I want you to feel this in the hip joints, which are in the front of your body, not the back of your body. Holding this position, keep those biceps engaged, lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Let's do a nice deep inhale here. And an exhale. One more time, nice deep inhale. And an exhale. You've got it. Slowly sitting yourself up. Sweep your feet to one side. Bring yourself onto your knees. Look back at your feet. Gaze at them. Walk your hands forward. Just one cat-cow here. Take an inhale. Sink your belly. Lift the tailbone. Lengthen through the neck. Exhale. Curl everything under. Sit, sit, sit. Give yourself that little stretch in this position. Drop your head gently down towards the floor if you like. Allow your elbows to come down if you like. Find your position today. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Slowly walk your hands up. Guys, we've got one more thing with our knees. I apologize, but we need to do it. So grab your bolster, another balance pose. Bring yourself back up onto your knees. Once you're back up onto your knees, again, double your yoga mat however you want to. If you want some padding for your knees, do what works for you at home. Have your yoga bolster on the left side of you. Then take your right leg out to the side. Slide your leg out to the side far enough that your left leg is running perpendicular to the floor. The right leg is so that the ankle and the knee and the hip line up with the left knee. Bring yourself up nice and tall. You're merely holding the bolster for balance today. Take your right hand, place it in the crease of this right hip. Now, allow yourself to go through pelvic tucking and tilting. So as you tuck under and as you tilt forward, do you feel a point where there's more tension where your hand is on your hip? So for me, when I tuck under, I feel a lot more tension. For you, find the point where you feel the most tension. Now, here's what you're doing today. Nice and simple. Take an inhale. And on the exhale, just gently lean your body over that right hand. So what you're doing to that hip right now is so beautiful because you're stretching the capsule of the bottom part of the hip joint. Let yourself just rest as you lean into that hip joint right here. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Nice deep inhaling in and exhaling out. Beautiful. Inhale, lifting your body back up. And then as you exhale, dropping your right knee to the yoga mat, taking your yoga block, placing it on the right side, left leg, bring it up and out to the side of your body. Balance is through the bolster. Right leg is perpendicular to your yoga mat. Left leg is straight and out to the side so that the ankle, the knee, and the hip all line up with this right knee. left hand onto that left crease of your hip area. So in this position, just go through pelvic tuck and tilts. As you tuck under, as you tilt forward, is there a position where you feel like the hip feels tighter? Be your own yoga teacher, physical therapist, whatever you want to say, but be that. Find that tight position on you. Then take a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, just gently side bend over. As you do that, you're gliding that hip downward or inferior. You're stretching that capsule that never gets stretched. It's beautiful for these hips, especially if there's any sort of bony changes in there. Take a deep inhale into the belly. Exhaling out. Let's do it one more time. Nice deep inhale into the belly. And exhaling out. Beautiful. Inhale, bring your body back up. And then as you exhale, drop your left knee down, sit yourself back. We are done with our bolster. Thank goodness, right? So just kind of gently move your bolster out of your way. Allow yourself to lay down through your side. We're making our way down onto the floor now. And then roll yourself onto your back. That block that you have, find it. We're going to use it real quickly. And so as you find your way onto your back, allow yourself to take your right knee to your chest, have the block near you. Nice, deep inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale, just simply pull the knee into your chest. Now take a deep inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale, pull that knee into your chest a little bit more. You've got it. And then relax the right foot onto the floor. And let's do that all over again with the left side. So left knee, bring it up into your chest. Nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, pull it into your chest. And again, holding it there, take a deep inhale into your belly. And then exhaling, keeping that knee to your chest. Beautiful. Slowly lowering your right foot to the floor, taking that yoga block, finding that yoga block now into your right hand, right foot over the left knee. Yoga block goes against the right knee. Now in this position, for those of you that have really good flexible hips, by all means, feel free to go into full thread the needle. But for the majority of us, we're not taking the time to feel the opening of the hip joint. We just go right to where we feel the greatest amount of tension. So I really want to focus on trying to open this hip joint right now. So take your left hand, bring it underneath your bottom and sit on your left hand. So much so that as you do that, you may see that your left leg kind of falls a little bit out to the side. That's just great. Right hand on the yoga block against the right knee. Take a deep inhale. And then as you exhale, start to push that knee away. Now, maybe even close your eyes and feel when you find that point that you start to feel that tension around the outside of the right hip. Then hold it there. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Nice, deep, beautiful inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. And gently release the tension, release the block away from the right knee. Uncross that leg, take the left hand away from your bottom and then take the left ankle over the right knee. Block now goes into the left hand against the left knee. And now take that right hand and sit on it. So when you sit on that knee hand, you're not sitting on your knee, ladies and gentlemen, sitting on your hand. Let yourself literally roll your pelvis a bit to the right. So you're going to see that your right leg even falls out a little bit, A-okay. Because then I really want you to feel this left hip joint. In this position, lengthening your neck, settling your chin, focusing on the left hip. Take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to slowly push that knee out until you begin to feel the tension in the outside of the left hip. Hold it. Stay sitting on that right hand. Take a deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. One more time, deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. And then slowly releasing the tension, placing the block somewhere beside you. You are done with it. Right hand, release it. Uncross the left leg and then bring your right knee to your chest, followed by your left knee to your chest. Nice deep inhale here. And then as you exhale, pull those knees to your chest. Take a deep inhale into your belly and then exhaling out. All right, gently 1 foot at a time, place them on the floor. We're going to do a Feldenkrais awareness through movement exercise next. So this is going to take us this last bit of time of class. I want you to really be one with your hip joint. So I really want you to be thinking about what the ball and socket is doing. So allow yourself to let your left leg come down onto the yoga mat. Take a moment if you need to look at it and see that the foot is in the center of your mat. Then take your right foot and place it so that your right inner ankle can feel the touch of the inside of your left knee. Shoulder blades are just down and relaxed underneath you. Arms, you can just gently rest them down on the floor beside you. Now in this position, feel first where your pelvis is. Do you feel more of your right pelvis on the floor, left pelvis on the floor? Pay attention to that. And then take an inhale. And as you exhale, slowly start to let that right leg fall out to the side. Now, as it falls out to the side, don't allow the left pelvis to come off the floor. If you have very little awareness of your body, you may even want to take your left hand right now and place it on the pelvis as you gently let your right leg fall out to the side. As it finds its resting position wherever it is, take a moment to feel where you feel this in your hip. Do you feel tension in your buttock? Do you feel stress or strain in your inner thigh? Do you feel a gentle opening through your groin? Do you feel compression on the outside of the hip? Pay attention to your body. Allow yourself to take a deep inhale into your belly here. And exhaling out. And then very, very slowly start to unrotate the hip back upward. Once it's in its upward position, start to walk your feet so that your foot is now off the side of the mat on the right side. Keep your left hand onto the pelvis if you want to pay attention to it. Before you start moving your right knee, feel how much of your pelvis is on your yoga mat. Pay attention to that left pelvis staying in contact with the mat. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then on the exhale, slowly let the right knee fall out to the side. Where does it go before you start to feel that pelvis lift? Don't let it lift. Try to relax through your buttocks, through your outer hip. Where do you feel the tension here? Is there cramping? Is there a stretch? Is there a strain? Now breathe into it. Take a deep inhale into your belly. And exhaling out. And slowly bringing that leg back upright. And then walking that foot all the way to that left knee. And then if you can, bringing the foot all the way up and over to the opposite side of the knee. So now the outer ankle on the right is touching the outer knee on the left. Pelvis, keep it nice and stable. Can you feel in this position? Do you still have that full right pelvis on the floor? Take a deep inhale in. And then as you exhale, very, very slowly let the leg begin to fall out to the side. The foot will lift off the floor. Make sure you're not directly on your kneecap. Where do you feel tension in this right hip? Take a deep inhale into your belly and exhaling out. And then very slowly bringing the knee back into an upright position, uncrossing the leg, sliding the left leg up, sliding the right leg down. Take a moment to make sure that the right foot looks like it's in the center of your yoga mat. And then lengthen your neck, settle your chin. Shoulder blades are down and behind you. If you want to place your right hand onto your pelvis, just to have an extra cue for pelvis alignment, feel free to do that. But take the left inner ankle and touch the inside of the right knee. All right, where's your pelvis right now? How much tension or how much weight do you feel on your left pelvis versus your right pelvis? Keep the right pelvis on the mat. Take a nice deep inhale, and then on your exhale, slowly let that hip begin to gently fall outward. Do not let the right pelvis unload off the mat. Where does that leg and that hip get to? Wherever you are, let yourself be there. Don't push any edge that needs to be pushed, but pay attention to your left hip now. What do you feel? Tension in the inner groin, tension in your buttock, maybe cramping on the outer hip. Where do you feel tension? Take that deep belly breath in and exhaling out. Slowly bringing that leg back upward until the knee is upright. And then walking that foot all the way until that leg is to the outside of your yoga mat. And then once you're there, allow yourself to take a nice deep inhale. And then as you exhale, right hand stays on that pelvis. Don't let the right pelvis lift off the mat. Slowly let the left leg fall outward to the side. Where do you feel tension? Is it in your upper buttock? Is it in your groin? Is it in your inner thigh? Wherever you feel it, take that deep inhale, that belly breath. Focus on that left hip. And then exhaling out. Gently bringing that left knee all the way back up. And as you bring that left knee all the way up, now walk the foot towards the right knee. Bring the left foot up and over the right knee if you can. Now, as you did that, if your whole left pelvis came off the yoga mat, that's a little too high for you. So you might want to put your foot onto your thigh. You pick what's right for you. Right hand stays on the pelvis. Keep the pelvis completely on the floor. Nice deep inhale into your belly. And then as you exhale, slowly let that left knee fall outward. Last position here. Feel your left hip. Where do you feel tension? Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Slowly let that knee coming back all the way back up. Bring that foot up and over that knee. Slide that right leg up. Bring your knees to your chest again. Nice deep inhale in. Exhale, pull your knees into your chest. All right, now from here, can you grab the outside of your shin bones, outside of your calf muscles, and just begin to lift your legs up into a modification of happy baby? So make sure you're holding the outside of your leg, either at your knee, at your calf, at your shin, or underneath your foot. You pick your poison. Let your knees only come as wide as your shoulders. Feet, have them placing upwards toward the ceiling if you can. Take a nice deep inhale here, and as you exhale, pull your knees towards the floor. Take a minute to close your eyes, feel your hips. Does one feel tighter than the other? Take a deep inhale all the way to your pelvic floor. And then exhaling out. Gently sliding your hands down towards your knees, bringing your knees back inward, dropping your feet down to your mat. And then finally take your feet, walk them so that your knees are bent, but the feet are on the outside of your mat. We're going to end with a spinal twist that's very specific to your hip joints here. So take your arms, going goalposts. We're going to let our knees fall to our right side first. So take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, just let those legs windshield wiper to the right side. Dropping the left knee downward toward the center of your mat, right knee outward. Feel where your body goes. Lengthen your neck, settle your chin, turn towards your left elbow. Take a deep inhale into your belly. Exhaling out. Let's do that one more time. Deep inhale into the belly and exhaling out. Slowly bringing your head back to the center, and then slowly, I guess it's called unwindshield wipering, I don't know, but bring your knees back up to the center. Take a deep inhale here, and then as you exhale, drop the knees to the left knee coming down to the center of the mat. So out to the side of the mat, right knee to the center of the mat. Allow yourself to lengthen your neck. Turn your gaze towards your right elbow. Deep inhale here. Exhaling out. One more beautiful breath. Nice deep inhale in. And exhaling out. Then slowly bringing the head back to the center. And then very gently derotating as you bring your knees back up. Walk your feet so that you feel your feet on your yoga mat. And then slide your heels down to the corners of your mat. Shoulder blades are underneath you. Palms are lifted. Lengthen your neck. Settle your chin. All right. Keep your body nice and still just for a few moments. Can you take a second just to feel through your buttocks? Can you feel them equally on your yoga mat right now? Go down your legs. Can you feel your hamstrings and your calves equally? How about your heels? Are they just comfortably resting in an equal position? Keeping your body nice and still. Taking a nice, gentle, and slow inhale. See if you can feel that breath go so deep that it touches both of those hip joints. I felt it. Exhaling gently through that nose. Let's do that one more time. Deep to the hip joints as you inhale. And exhaling gently, gently, gently out. And then wiggle your fingers and your toes and circle your wrists and your ankles. And slide one leg up followed by the other. And then gently in your time, roll yourself over on your side. Oh, rest there for a moment, maybe a breath. And when you feel like you're ready, on an exhale, bottom elbow, top hand, push yourself up into a seated position. Now, crisscross, tailor sitting, easy pose. Can you find the one that is your non-normal? And does it feel as good now that you've opened up through your hips? Hands to heart, smile on your face. Give me a nice deep inhale in and exhaling out. Namaste. The highest in me salutes the highest in you. Thank you for joining me today.